Hey guys, we're back and I hope you've all had a happy new year and hopefully you've stuck to your new year resolutions instead of quitting in 2 weeks' time. I'm in Gombay and I'm here back with Rowan to talk about what we believe in the last couple of years has been happening recently, which I describe as the global awakening, where people have realised that reality is not what it seems like, not just in the occult and conspiracy world, but in terms of entrepreneurship and freedom and just life in general, how people want to be more free, I guess. And that all stems from finding the truth. So, Rowan, what do you make of this recent phenomena and perhaps, in general, what do you think?
I think it's a great thing that people are waking up and people are changing their mindsets. I think we've been stuck in this rigid way of thinking for a hell of a long time, and people are starting to actually think outside of the box and not necessarily obey to any overlords or rules or anything that's been preset for them or traditions that have been placed and handed down from people before us. Yeah, I think it's nice that people are waking up. I think you definitely see a rise in conspiracy way of thinking to a degree. I don't know if it's good or bad. Perhaps it's part of the plan. Perhaps they have always been in control. And perhaps this is just another way to gain control over us, is to go with the flow and make it seem like there's this great awakening happening. I do think it's an amazing thing that people are actually waking up and thinking different. You never know. You never know. People might be only thinking this way because they have been manipulated and influenced to think this sort of way. I'm not saying that a lot of people that come into the conspiracy world aren't necessarily like stooges or anything like that. I think it's completely organic, but I also think at the same time, if there were things that we shouldn't be speaking about, that it would have been quashed by now pretty quickly and it would have been able to see the light of day. But then again, I guess you've got the internet nowadays, which is a much bigger platform for people to spread information and talk about different things that they would have been able to speak about in the past on a grand scale. So people have more access to information these days. And I mean, that goes for us guys on this podcast. We wouldn't have been able to start this podcast without the internet, you know? Um, it is very interesting. I am excited, I guess, more than anything, to see what happens in the next few years. They always say that, I remember when I was first getting into this sort of way of thinking, they were always talking about, the age of Aquarius is because the astronomy, astrological signs are changing and we're shifting from the age of Pisces, I believe, into the age of Aquarius. That could be wrong, but we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is like the Grand Awakening and people waking up, whether it's forced, whether it's due to astrological signs, whether it's God made, whether God's in control and he's creating all this grand awakening for people to come into the new age. You never know. But it is very interesting. I am very excited to see what happens in the next 5-10 years or so, because I think we are living in very interesting times. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the key factors that sum up this awakening that people are seeing is, recent events, like the C-19, people being stuck at home. And when you're stuck at home for a long period of time, you start to evaluate your life in a sense because you have nothing else to do. So I think in that sense, people have realized in terms of perhaps work life that, it's much more convenient if if you're working at home instead of going to an office. Even outside of conspiracy stuff like that in general is enough for people to reflect on their current life situation and that they could make a change, which is obviously why since the pandemic was over, we've seen a hybrid work-life balance for people. And obviously you yourself, you're technically self-employed as an actor, so you've not gone the traditional 9 to 5 route, whatever the modern people choose nowadays. So it is very interesting times, and ultimately people want freedom, and freedom does not come from, the traditional 9 to 5 route. It will still always be there. It's just that people are realizing that there's bigger and better things.
Yeah, I think people just don't want to abide by the laws of making themselves like a cog in a machine almost, where they're just doing a 9 to 5, they're just doing the same thing over and over again. Um, and working for someone else, I guess. Like, I think the biggest freedom comes from financial uh, independence, to be honest, where you can actually like do whatever you want to do at what time. You don't have to abide by all certain holidays. You can't go here, you can't go there. Your life is basically dictated by someone that tells you what you can and can't do, which I don't think necessarily is a natural way to live. I'm not saying it's the worst route in the world, because at the same time, it does offer a lot of security. If you want to say build a house, build a family with someone, probably the best route to go, because there is a lot of security involved in getting a 9 to 5 and sticking to the rules that have been planted down to you from like your parents and stuff like that. Um, but at the same time, it does prevent you from doing a lot of things that you potentially could. Like you can't explore as much, you can't go where you want, you can't do what you want when you want. Having said that, I do think there is some sort of rigidity that you do need when it comes to having your own life. Like even if you are self-employed, at the same time, you do need to stick to some certain patterns and ways of living. Because if you don't, then you can completely get sidetracked and you can just do whatever happens, and you sort of begin to spiral because there's no base, there's no platform of which that you're standing on. You're just kind of just going about your days and nothing's actually happening for you. So at the same time, I think there does need to be a balance in the middle where you are doing something, you are working towards something, and that involves sacrificing time that you could be spending doing other things. Say, like if I wanted to play golf all the time, probably not the best way to spend my time if I want to be an actor. I need to dedicate my time to, doing things that are related to acting and getting my name out there and pushing my name forward for roles and things like that. So I think it is a great thing that people are doing more of what they want to do these days. And as well, that the internet kind of grants that, because we have such a connectivity these days that you can sell products from any side of the world. We have a network that is almost instantaneous within our fingertips, and you can speak to anyone at any time. If you want to build, say, a new like client list, all you need to do is just go into like an email list or something like that. You sign people up, and it's there. It's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. So you can essentially advertise to more people than you would in the past. And I think the internet has accommodated that. No, it is a really promising time, I think, for a lot of people. And yeah, the way of thinking has definitely shifted massively, I think, in the past few years. But I think that comes from new enlightenments. Like there's been tidbits here and there that have forced people to think differently. I'm not sure if it's by design. There's like disclosures and things that come out every now and then that leaders, like they give us like what's the word? They give us like tidbits and almost like breadcrumbs into leading to a different way of thinking. It's almost like the mindset has shifted, and it seems to be almost organic, where there's been disclosure about, say, like UAPs, UFOs, and things like that, and just the way we think about life. It does seem sort of like there's a mindset shift. I'm not sure if that's by design or what, but yeah, it is interesting. Definitely. Oh, cops are after you, bro.
Yeah, boy, they obviously don't like this discussion. Obviously, they want, nah, just joking. Let the police do their job at the end of the day. But yeah, it is very interesting times that we are in, and mostly speaking about, you mentioned briefly about UFOs and stuff. You sent me something about something regarding Project Bluebeam, some aliens, and that's obviously been something that's been revealed by particular governments that have hid it for so many years, in that extraterrestrial beings happening. So people have thought that this may be real, which is, again, very enlightening to see, because then, people that used to believe in that stuff would be considered crazy for that thought, when official governments are and mainstream media are talking about it, then yeah, even though mainstream media can be a bit, misleading, sometimes they have to reveal truth as well. So yeah, all good stuff. And whether it's by design or intention, I don't know. I mean, just speaking about the astrological sense, from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, obviously, in terms of Pisces, ruled by the fish, and in the Piscean age, it was mainly based around religion. Obviously, Jesus being the fisher of men, Pisces has the fish sign, so, and obviously over time, in many generations, they've obviously looked to get rid of religion via Project Bluebeam. You see, even in England, right, like generations of families where religion has not passed down to many families in England. Like, I'm sure, Rowan, your ancestors would have been heavily religious, but now that's not being passed down to maybe your family or many other families. So it is by design, whether it's done naturally by whatever's running the show or the elite or whatever. It perhaps is an organic tale through astrology, numerology, or any other theme that runs this reality. So yeah, it is a turning point in that sense.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that. Yeah, like family wise, my grandparents were very heavily religious, and now my parents are very blasé about the whole thing. It definitely seems like there's been a complete shift. Like, people are very unrigorous in terms of how dedicated they are to religion these days. People don't really care about it as much as they did. And I mean, there was a massive shift because, so for example, my granddad, he got kicked out of many churches because he was so devoutly Christian, so strongly in what he believed, that it almost made it so he had to get kicked out because he used to argue with the other people in the church, because he was like, well, I believe this, I know this, I know this. So it was almost like it became such a part of their life that it obviously like affected their life at the same time. So it is very interesting that there's kind of like a complete shift where people don't really care about religion. And like you say, is that by design, or is it man that's influencing that? Or is it just something that happens on a cyclical nature? Could be the case. But yeah, in terms of the UFOs and stuff like that, I think there is some sort of disclosure happening. And as I say, it's almost like breadcrumbs and tidbits that they give us every now and then to sort of pacify us for the time being. The Miami Mall incident, the one I was referring to, was essentially very low key. I think I only found out about it because of Twitter, and I remember I asked my mum about it because she watches the news still, which she shouldn't really. But what are you going to do? I can't force her not to watch the news. But she basically said that it wasn't on the news. There was nothing on the news about the Miami Mall incident. And she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" So it was very hush hush in terms of like the mainstream coverage, I believe, because if that was a massive incident, which it seemingly was, according to Twitter at least, then why wasn't it covered? So it is interesting because they do sort of lean into this idea of UFOs and UAPs becoming common knowledge, but it's almost like they're still trying to cover it. So it's very weird. I don't really know what the dynamic is at the minute. Like we say about, is this the start of Project Bluebeam? But if it was, you just thought there'd be more importance in getting it into the mainstream light at this stage. I feel like the whole UFO UAP disclosure has been going on for quite a while now. People don't really know about it as much as they should. I'm not sure. Maybe that's because it has to really be like a slow drip feed in the way that they're going to do it. To be fair, I was listening to Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell speak about it recently, and they were talking about how like they probably wouldn't even need to do Project Bluebeam because people just go along with the narrative anyway, regardless. So would they necessarily need to at this stage a alien invasion to get people to conform to what the government's saying? Not necessarily, but potentially maybe it's something they're still considering doing, and they're just testing the waters and seeing how the public responds to the possibility and the idea that aliens are coming down. Well, if we just speak about the Miami Mall incident, I don't know have you done much research into what happened there?
No, I have. I haven't,
You
but
have?
can you?
Oh, you haven't?
I, I haven't. No.
Yeah, of course. So it's actually quite interesting to what day was it? I believe it was like January 3rd of this year. So straight to the new year. Like all things happen at the start of the new year. We were just speaking to Ngombe about how in January of the new year, everyone seems to go crazy. It's like, oh, look at all this that's happening. And I think people are just more focused on the fact that it's a new year and they start looking out for things and they're more vigilant to stuff that's happening in the new year. And it becomes all, oh my God, everything's going crazy this year. But for the Miami Mall incident, I think it was January 3rd. It was in Bayside Mall in Miami. So apparently, people reported seeing a giant shadow figure, about 8 foot tall, walking around the mall, and they had to disperse and they ran out of the mall very quickly because they were like, "What the hell is that? Some giant figure." Almost like people reported it looked like Alien from the film Alien. Oh, there were a few of them just walking about. And at the same time, so if you watch videos, you can find videos online, but it's kind of hush hush at the same time. There was a police presence of about 80 police vehicles, which is very strange. And the police report that it was just two children fighting, like a gang sort of fight, and that's why they had to have such a huge police presence. And obviously they're all on call, so like the police sirens are going off and things like that. There was also a helicopter present as well, a Chinooks, as people believe. And I think Chinooks is obviously it's a military helicopter, which is strange because why would they need military presence there if it's just two teenagers fighting? At the same time, like a lot of people say that if there's an alien presence, most likely there's going to be like military presence at the same time. So yeah, it's just a very weird story on the front of the police and the Miami government that said that there was nothing really happening. It was just two children fighting, but they had to have a huge police presence. Eyewitnesses do report that they were running away. There's quite a few eyewitness reports as well that they were running away and they saw like a giant tall figure. There's a video as well online that looks like from outside of the mall. They zoom in and you can see this giant figure walking about from place to place, which is very strange, and it almost looks like a shadow figure. So people are questioning what the hell is that. And also another part of the story that got revealed recently was the fact that a lot of eyewitnesses said that there were these teenagers, like that is true, there were teenagers at the mall and they caused the incident. But what happened was they had like a suitcase, almost looking like a DVD player, essentially. And they put it down on the ground, lifted it up, and it opened a portal. Yeah, actually, like I was watching some videos before we started the podcast, and it's up to contention as to whether the videos are edited, but it looks like there's almost like this portal that opens, and apparently that's what the aliens stepped through, or whatever these beings were, whatever these creatures were that stepped through at that moment. And they came through this little portal, almost looking like Doctor Strange. If you've seen the Avengers, they were like Doctor Strange type portal. You know, the swirly ones when he's got the sling ring.
Yeah,
It opened up, and then these aliens passed through, and people were like, "What the hell is that? What the hell is that?" And then they're all running away. Obviously, I think the main argument from people is like, why isn't there that much police footage or any footage for that matter of the incident? Yeah. Is that because there was like I don't know, were they very strict with it? Were they taking the phones off people? Some people say that all my phone was taken off me immediately. But what about like CCTV? Are they trying to keep it hush hush on purpose? Or is it something that they're trying to make it seem like it's hush hush because they want to generate more suspicion and more question about it to then, keep adding tidbits into the story and things like that? But yeah, it's just a very weird and interesting thing that's happened. And it's not reported on mainstream for some reason. Apparently as well, there was like an electrical outage as well, very shortly after the incident. So apparently like the alien stepped out, or whatever the being was stepped out, and then there was like an electrical outage. So strange.
Yeah, strange. It almost sounds like you're telling a story for people that haven't seen it. I mean, I've not seen it either, but I'll definitely look at it after this episode. And yeah, I'm sure that there are some strange things going on. Like you said before, with 80 police. Did you say 80, right? And
Eight.
only for two teenagers running away or fighting. That is
Yeah.
very strange. You got
And
to
if
question that.
two teenagers were fighting, why would they need to like evacuate the whole building? You know what I mean? Like, surely they could just contain it. You'd only need a few
Exactly.
officers there, and I
Yep.
imagine security were there as well,
Oh, definitely.
and they could have just detained him or something like that. It seems like something bigger happened.
Yeah.
They probably just don't want to tell people. But at the same time, it could be like an introduction to blue being. Like we do not know what technology they have. They could be able to project a shadow figure. I don't imagine it's out of the realms of possibility these days to have that sort of technology. I mean, you see like the ball in Las Vegas. Have you seen the ball? You know, the big ball.
Which one?
So there's a huge ball in Las Vegas now. I think they spent a hell of a lot of money. Something like 500 million. But there's light shows and stuff inside of it. But it's essentially like a big light. It's huge.
Yeah,
Massive.
I've just looked at it now.
Projects like videos and stuff like that onto it.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. Absolutely massive, isn't it?
Yeah. It looks incredible. But
It does look very cool. But I'm saying if they've got that sort of technology, and you have the Chinese New Year sort of projections. Have you seen those? I think we spoke about those on the
yeah. I've seen a clip of one of the Chinese New Year. Everyone just has their phones out recording it.
Yeah. So you have these like drones creating imagery. I'm sure they could do something like that. So as I say, this is possibly an introduction to Project Bluebeam. Maybe. Who knows?
I mean,
And at the same time, though, you've got a question: why did they need the police presence? Was it to create a more solid story, possibly, to make it seem like more legitimate?
possibly. But yeah, given how technology's risen so much, it wouldn't surprise me if whether it was the elites or higher ups had the technology to summon a portal or whatever. You know, we sound crazy, but you can't rule out anything at this point on this planet.
Very true. I mean, Crowley was out there in the desert. You know, what were they doing out in the desert, creating portals? That's what they say, to open up other dimensions. But then my question is, like, what happened to this alien? Like, why did it just disappear? Would it not be going around terrorizing the rest of Miami by now?
Exactly.
Did those police really stop it? What did they do? Like, shoot at it or something like that? And then it was like, nah, I'm off back.
Then they must have sent it. They must have sent it to a high guarded prison or something.
On the moon? I don't know. Usually, that's the thing I question is, like, what happened to this being? Why did it just, like, disappear? Why did it just vanish?
Yeah. I don't know.
But then
Just
again, maybe it wasn't a harmful being. Maybe it was just like a friendly giant. Okay, now.
like the BSG.
See what was going on. Yeah, exactly. Want to see what we're cracking down on it. Well, what's up, guys?
Maybe, I mean, they used to say that giants existed on this planet, so you never know.
True. But then
That's
what's the deal with these teenagers? Like, because the story is, as I say, like these teenagers opened up a box and then a portal opened and let through these aliens. It kind of seems fishy to me. I don't know.
Yeah. That sounds like something that will come out of a movie.
Yeah. 100%. It's a very strange story. It does sound fabricated to a degree to me, at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next year or so. You never know. We might have more signs of UFOs. To be fair, I think there are eyewitness reports as well. On the same day that this was happening, people were reporting seeing like UFOs and strange things in the sky over Miami. Which is very interesting, like lights and stuff in the sky. I think I did see a video of it. the only thing is, I'd question nowadays is like you don't know how good technology is for people to lie. Do you know what I mean? And create false imagery. It's very hard
Yeah,
to distinguish from what's real these days. That's why I feel like the most sticky pies. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So
Yes.
as we say, like technology improves these days, we're more connected than ever. At the same time, it's kind of hard to distinguish what truth is from fiction.
Hmm.
So
Especially,
we're living in this. Sorry, go on.
yeah, especially with the AI deep fakes, man. Like, imagine someone using that as a tool to, you know, exploit elderly people into thinking that, something bad has really happened to their relative or something.
True. Well, that's the thing. Like elderly people believe anything they see on TV.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more difficult for them to distinguish reality from fiction. I remember I watching a video watching a video recently on Instagram. It was like some grandma that was watching clips of GTA and the family convinced her that it was real life. And she was like, "Oh my god, can't believe that person just got shot." she was like she was like genuinely terrified. But as you say, like these days it's gonna be a lot harder to distinguish reality from fiction in terms of what's going on. I think that possibly comes with like the age of enlightenment, the new age or whatever. It's going to be a lot harder to actually ascertain what the truth is. Like there's no truth, so people get more confused. It'll be interesting to see. You know what I mean? But moving on from that, I think another thing that's happened in the month of January is obviously the fact that a lot of information has now been disclosed, or they say a lot of information has been disclosed about the whole Epstein Island and who was going there and who was visiting.
Yep.
And I
That in
think,
itself is a crazy one.
yeah, and that's possibly why I believe that this was a distraction, the Miami Mall incident, because it takes people away from speaking about that and more about what happened at Miami Mall. So was it like a planned exercise that the police and military carries out? Are those people that are involved in the Epstein scandal in the pockets of the police, or vice versa? Sorry. And did they essentially say to him, like, look, you've got to stage something that makes it look like there's something going on at Miami Mall?
Yeah.
But
I mean, the higher ups have done it many times in human history, so what you said probably wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. There's always many distractions and psyops that they do, but I feel like with this one, it's not really enough to distract people from speaking about the Miami incident than with Epstein and what's going on there.
very true. Very true. Or maybe it was Epstein. It was at the Miami Mall. And that's who. There is reports, to be fair. I remember listening to reports a while ago, and he was talking about how some of the girls and stuff that were abused by Epstein reports saying that, like, after they'd finished, that he transformed into some sort of like reptilian alien being. So you never know. You never know. It could have been him at the mall. I mean, it's not too far away from the island.
Is it
Only a
not?
quick swim away. I don't think so. It's only a quick swim away, isn't it? I believe.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Dive in the ocean across to Miami. It's not too far.
Facts.
But yeah. Well, the thing is with the whole disclosure of like the Epstein case, it does seem to have tailed off now. People don't seem to care all that much, really. But at the same time, there's not even that much information that's actually come out.
Yeah,
Talking about all this list, this name of like the named people that have been named, obviously at the island, and at the same time, it's basically things that we already knew before. It's not like any new information's been divulged.
yeah,
It's the same people such as like Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, all those folk.
yeah. So nothing new really. The mainstream just decided to bring out this again after what, a couple of months or a year after it was all revealed anyway. I don't know.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I kind of feel like it's not a soft disclosure, but it's kind of disappointing in a sense. I think people were expecting all this information, like these people have been accused, this is what's happened, this is what
Yeah.
actually went down at the island. But I still think it's kind of a misfire. There's not really any clear indication as to what actually happened. I think we're still as in the dark as before about it.
Yeah, that's it. Like whether they release that information or not, who knows what the mainstream control anything, so they may not even release that information.
No, no, they probably will. They've got like no intention of releasing any information anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think it's more a fact of they just want to do whatever serves them the best, and getting this out of the way, getting this whole case out of the way is probably the best thing for them. So they're coming up with these distractions such as the Miami Mall incident, and they might bring up some more. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Stephen Hawking was actually one of the main people that was accused, which is quite interesting. I don't know if you look. Yeah, Stephen Hawking, which is crazy.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of Stephen Hawking, are you?
No, I do. I don't hate the guy. I don't dislike him either. He's obviously done great work from his work on physics and stuff and quantum physics. I'm aware of his work, but I don't know why he would be accused. He's been in a wheelchair practically all his life, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like in the testimonies and stuff like that, I'll say that he really liked midgets. That was his go-to thing. So.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. But I did watch a video recently, and it's before Stephen Hawking had like the computer and stuff like that to talk. It was obviously like iconically recently, like since it's been known about in public view, he's used a computer to talk. That's his way of translating his information to the world. But before that, there's a video of him with a translator, so someone who's translating the information for him. And Stephen's there. I'll try and get the video because I don't really want to do a discriminatory impression of what Stephen Hawking's talking like. It sounds like Chewbacca essentially, like that sort of thing. Don't clip that. And the translator's basically saying things for him. So it'll be like Stephen Hawking will make a noise, very inaudible. You won't be able to tell what he's saying. And then the translator will say like, "Oh yeah, Stephen's been interested in science since he was a little boy, and he used to play with his train sets." That's what he just said. And it goes on for a few minutes, and he does it multiple times. So the argument would be that kind of sounds like rubbish, and how would the translator be able to distinguish what Stephen is saying whatsoever? Kind of seems implausible. It's almost like Han Solo and Chewbacca. That's our relationship. Or, Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
And Rocky Raccoon. Like, he's not saying anything, but people understand it because they just do. It's that sort of thing. It's that sort of relationship. So the argument then would be that Stephen Hawking never actually was a scientist or never was like a very intelligent person. Honestly, like this is just a theory. I'm not saying this is truth gospel.
Okay.
Stephen Hawking was a character that was hired to basically purport information for the higher ups and to get people thinking a certain way. I'm not saying what Stephen Hawking said was necessarily wrong, but more that he was a puppet and he couldn't actually talk and he was never in control of what he was saying. When he was giving his presentations and stuff like that, someone was controlling him and typing for him, possibly. And then part of that deal was you get to come to the island and have as much fun as you want with these kids.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know.
I'll send you the video once we're done because it's
Okay.
quite interesting.
Yeah.
I watched.
I'll have a listen. But yeah,
But you never know to what lengths these people go to send what they want to further their agenda. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, that's it. You don't really know what's going on until everything is revealed.
Interesting. Just to let people know, I've never visited the island.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Glad to hear that. Otherwise it'd be a whistleblower and your life would be in danger.
Exactly. I'm not Bill Clinton. I'm not
That's
Bill
good.
Clinton.
Unless you do an impression.
I can try. What do you want me to say?
I don't know the person, so you'll have to.
You don't know Bill Clinton?
I've heard of him, but yeah, I've heard him speak a couple of times, but I don't really know
Right.
what he sounds like.
I talks like this. My name's Bill. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Bill Clinton. I never went to the island. I never went there. I told Hillary, I said, I've never been to the island. Promise. On storage idea. I never had sexual relationships with that word. My abilities.
That one I have heard of, that affair, potentially. That's something I have heard before.
Yeah. But maybe a lot more happened. You never know.
Possibly.
The whole thing about Prince Andrew is I think the most interesting of it's like Prince Andrew apparently visited and the royal family tried to bury it deep.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like if Prince Andrew was doing it and he's guilty, then there's probably a hell of a lot more high up people that are doing a very similar thing. So, but
Yeah.
I guess this is just the start of 2024, and we're just going to have to see what the year brings at the end of the day.
I mean, we're only 9 days in, and this has happened already, man. I mean, Lord and behold, what's going to happen next in the mainstream in 2024? Have you got any predictions in terms of mainstream related stuff or life in general for 2024?
I think 100% Trump's going to get back in office. I'm not saying necessarily I want him to or that he should. I'm just saying I feel like the stars are aligned for him to get back in office, and it does feel like that is something that will happen. I can't see anyone else getting in. Other than that, I'm not really sure. I think we'll see like a bit more of a shift in the way people think, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be the biggest turning point of the year. I think it will be a very interesting year. I think next year will be the most interesting. But at the same time, like I think this is the turning point for everything that's happened in the world.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you got any predictions for this year?
If I have to give one, I'd say AI will improve even more. In terms
Oh yeah,
of artificial intelligence will be the main thing for the year.
yeah. I think I've read somewhere that by 2029, that's the year that AI will become a genuine threat.
Yeah.
If it carries on the trajectory that it's going at. But yeah, to be fair, you're very much right there, because like how recently was it that we had like the AI imagery? I don't even think it was the start of this year or last year. Sorry, I think it was like June 2023 that I started seeing these like AI fake pictures and stuff like that. Well, they seem so hyper realistic now that I imagine by necessarily probably the end of the year that it'll be very, very difficult to distinguish like AI pictures from real pictures.
Yeah. Like, I also think that, I don't think it'll happen this year, but maybe towards the end where, jobs are going to perhaps looking to be replaced for those that are still working in jobs that are easily be replaced by AI. I think that could happen because it's going to spread quickly.
Very true. Very true. And it's a way to cut costs. I mean, I was in H&M the other day. I don't know if you've been to H&M. But it was
I've
like
been before.
self-checkout. Yeah, it's just a clothes shop, but it was like self-checkout. And I was like, why? I can understand it in like Sainsbury's or something, but for H&M, like I had a job a while ago working in a clothing store, and I was like folding clothes and taking payments through the till. That job was basically replaced by just computer. It was just computerized, which I guess probably does save them money. At the same time, it costs someone a job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a few people a job. So yeah, I don't doubt that in the next few years we'll probably see a lot of jobs lost to robots and AI and things like that. Which might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing. It might give us more time to work on what we want to work on. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Be very interesting, I think.
Yeah, because like ultimately you have to adapt to the world that you're living in. Like now the world is going more entrepreneurial side. Like, we're in the attention era, so you're gonna have people. The main media is social media at this point in time. So with AI coming on the side, people that don't have anything besides a 9 to 5 are really gonna struggle.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think it depends what sector you live in, you work in, though, really. If
Yeah.
you're doing something that can be replaced by AI, I would be worried. However, if
Yeah.
it's something that's not, I don't think it's so much of an issue. It'll just be interesting to see how everything else adapts to the fact that AI is replacing jobs, in terms of the fact that, look, will it make life easier? Perhaps. But will people be helped out if their job gets taken away by a robot? Do you know what I mean? Will there
Yeah.
suddenly be an incentive for governments to give out, say, like universal checks because people aren't working as much?
I mean,
And then
you look at the track.
will that have an effect on the human spirit? Will people, because they've not got a job anymore, feel worthless? Yeah.
I mean, you only have to look at COVID and the government's response to people not working. They gave people furloughs, but some people's furloughs ran out. So it will probably be a similar response to the way governments adapt to this new era of work-life, hybrid, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Well, I think we're very, very much in for very interesting times in the next year or so, especially considering the AI sort of situation. Because you never know, like, exponentially, the technology could grow so quickly. It just happens within a flash and we don't even realize what's changed.
Yeah.
I'm kind of worried as an actor, to be honest, because my profession might be sort of diminished by the fact that if AI becomes so good that like films and stuff just become AI generated. I don't know if it will. It might not. But it's a possibility.
So how would that work? Well, how would that work then? But just
Well, say the fact that like AI becomes so good that, as I say, with the imagery and stuff like that, like the AI generated images are so good and so strong that it almost is indistinguishable from a real person. Imagine in the next 2 years or so that they can turn that into a film and it looks like someone's acted and they don't have to pay an actor for it. They just do it on a AI generated system. But they could use the likeness of the actor. So say like a famous actor like Tom Cruise, for example. They want this new Tom Cruise film out, but it's only got 2 weeks to be released. So they just do it all through AI. And then Tom Cruise will get paid a lot of money. Or they could bring like dead actors back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Potentially, like, and use the likeness of the person that's dead. And if they didn't have any rights, if they didn't like own the rights to their face, they could use it for free. You know what I mean? There's some certain like laws and regulations where if you didn't like claim your likeness, I'd see offer studios can use it after you're dead. Because sometimes it expires after a certain amount of time and they can just use it and they don't have to pay anyone anything. to use it, and it's kind of disrespectful, but you don't know how far. It might not happen. It might not happen. We might continue to just use humans for acting, which I think is a better way to go. But as I say, it's the same thing as H&M using self-checkouts. It's cutting corners and it's saving costs. At the same time, it's costing people's livelihoods and like dreams and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Like, I don't think it will specifically go towards acting because there's a lot that goes into it. Like, the one thing that AI cannot do is replace human consciousness, and with acting, there's obviously a lot of drama and stuff like that. So until
yeah,
it has the neural networks and the algorithms to understand all of that, then I feel like it's really hard for a model. It's really hard for developers or companies to train a model to completely replicate an actor's profession.
yeah, 100%. But at the same time, as I say, like if the likeness is easily doable and replicable, then how long will it be before that is possible? Do you know what I mean? And if the technology does grow exponentially, like once it's started, it just improves and improves very, very rapidly. That could be very soon. That's a possibility. It might not be implemented for a good few years. It might be something that becomes contention in the acting world. But yeah, like you say, I don't think it'd ever be able to replace the human spirit consciousness. So it will be interesting. It will be very interesting to see in the next 2 years. Same for music though as well, because like AI music's been quite popular this year. I don't know if you've listened to any of it, but
No, I've not.
well, you can literally like make songs that are the likeness of people. So people make like Kanye songs, Drake songs, or whatever artist, and it sounds fairly real. Like if you weren't paying too much attention, you probably wouldn't be able to tell it wasn't like the actual artist singing, because they can get the inflections, they can get like the different, the accent sounds more or less the same. So if they can do the music, then maybe they could do it. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, but I think firstly it's going to be looking at taking people that have unskilled jobs and stuff like that. I think that would probably be the first step, which is unfortunate, but that's where the world is heading.
Sure. And it's all about cutting costs, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about more profits for the people who own the businesses.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
At the end of the day, like they don't really see you as a human necessarily. Just, but then again, like robots might get annoyed with working minimum wage jobs. They might be like, "Why am I doing this job for free? Like I won't pay in." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, obviously, if they make the AI like a human, then they will start behaving like a human. So
yeah, exactly. Very true. Very true.
If they want to replace, if they want to replace, if they want to replace humans with robots for low unskilled jobs, then it wouldn't make sense for these AI companies to produce robots or any robotics people to produce human-like employees, because then they'll act like humans and they will be rebellious like humans. So if they make them as basically people that are ordering or do jobs in a specific way tailored to the company's needs, then that's all good for them.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But then again, people might not be as receptive to like a robot serving them as they would.
Mm-hmm.
Where it might not even be like a robot. It might not be like a traditional robot walking around that we've got in our head, like, hello, welcome to Sainsbury's. As I say, it'll be more like self-checkout type thing where you just do everything yourself. It's just all automated.
Yeah.
Through AI. Like the Amazon stores that I have these days, where you just scan your card at the front, walk in, pick up wherever you want, and then walk out, and it'll just take the payment out of your bank. You don't even need to staff the place.
Exactly. You know, because like many like part-time jobs have this, jobs where you feel like the jobs that you're doing the same thing over and over again can easily be replaced, especially if you have ambition and you see this job as just a stepping stone, then you're gonna feel like you're just being like a robot in a sense. But you know, it is what it is. Like these jobs are good to start off, but obviously if you've done it for so many years, then you want to maintain it just to live.
Yeah, true. Very true.
But
I think, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm kind of excited to see what happens, to be honest.
so man,
I'm more like intrigued, I think, than anything.
yeah.
Because there
You know,
might be some great things that come out of it. You never know.
absolutely. Like, there's no point being scared or fearful of the future. I mean, that's for 2024. We're both excited because we want to make, 2024 the best year that we have. So
Yeah.
to do that, it's about taking action and take control of your life. Like we speak about what could happen and with AI and with the news about the Project Bluebeam and Epstein or whatever. Those things are out of our control. But ultimately, just with anything, when you find the truth, you are able to see what things you can control and ultimately make better life choices to live a more fulfilling life.
True. Very true. Yeah, as you say, it's all in your power and it's all in your control.
Yeah,
And everything else is just a distraction, really.
yeah,
Just plug away at what you want to do in life and, stick to your own script, I guess.
yeah. And this is why having awakenings is incredible, because when you have an awakening, you realize you're in control of your own destiny. So it's time to change it and to have whatever you want. As the going says, the truth will set you free.
Yeah. Need to live in abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance mindset. Never be worried about what someone else is doing, but focus on yourself.
Yeah. And I think more
that's,
people are.
Go on,
I
sorry.
think more people are having this realization, especially on a global scale, with the awakenings that have been happening recently. So, all in all, that's a positive step for humanity.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm just so excited to see what happens in the next few years.
Yeah. As the code in reality says, just enjoy the ride.
Exactly. Can't do much more, can you?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched a Deep Purge reality video in a long time.
Neither have I.
I feel like I was big into him 2022.
Yeah.
And then, fun by the wayside.
Yeah. Because, you get trapped in it. So, you,
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
you you have to step away from it as soon as you've taken the knowledge and you have the understanding of what he presents. But he's a top class individual. His videos are of high quality and, you know, hope he's doing well.
Yeah, Logan. It'd be good to have him on at some point. Maybe we should message him.
Maybe. A little bit of a PR promotion, whatever, but why not?
It'd be just good to pick his brains, I think, more than anything. Just see what he's thinking about these days. I don't even know if he's still uploading. He might be.
I don't know either.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
But yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. The first episode of 2024 is almost over, nearly done, and I think it's been a very good one in terms of just analysing what's currently happening this year, the awakenings that people are having recently, and all in all, exciting times for the year ahead for both of us and for you, the audience listening and watching. So, thank you guys for watching or listening to this episode, and I hope you have a fantastic and most importantly, productive new year. Peace.
Peace.
See yous.